After lambasting evangelical Christianity a couple weeks ago, I became rather introspective about this problem, and I had to ask myself the question, am I a racist? My gut reaction to this question was, no, of course not. I have friends who are black, who are brown. I go to the bar with them, I buy them drinks. On their birthday, I wish them happy birthday, and I just want the best for them. And since I answered the question no, with conviction, I feel that this is a good enough answer. But no matter how many friends of color I have, or how liberal my disposition, I can't help but shake the feeling that this question is more than just being able to answer yes or no. So I started to reflect on the question, what racism is, and I saw it more than the simple binary yes or no, you either are or you're not, simplicity that we've allowed ourselves to believe. What followed for me was an exploration of forgotten history that we as white people have chosen to forget because it shows us how vile and disgusting we are to other people of color, especially to African Americans. I saw how words and our use of words defines our world around us and how we've used those words to subjugate people of color. It was a vicious stereotype that was used within white culture to suppress those of African American descent. White people thought of them as less intelligent and only good for the use in the most menial of tasks. And then they provided them with no opportunity for education, thus reinforcing the stereotype that they're unintelligent. I then saw how the stereotype of African Americans being less intelligent persists to this day. While it is a sure sign that you are a racist if you say that African Americans are less intelligent than white people, a casual trip into the more neutral social media sites and you will encounter posts that reinforce this idea of white superior intelligence and African Americans degraded intelligence. I also saw that not only was their intelligence denigrated, but a disgusting narrative of a broken family was foisted upon them. Traditional family values, as told by white culture, is that of a man who grows up, marries, has kids, gets a job, and supports his family through honest work. Unfortunately, this ideal was never attainable for the African American because, first off, he had slave owners who destroyed any ideal of family. They would force slaves on each other to impregnate women. And then, once the men's job were done, they would sell them off to another slave owner so that he could go and impregnate other women on another slave plantation. And even after slavery was abolished, the African American man was always the boogeyman, the criminal, the one given half the chance would sleep with a woman, impregnate her, and leave to go impregnate another woman, never fulfilling his obligation to properly raise the child and support his wife. And while it is of course taboo to say that you believe in this narrative, if you listen to conservatives on TV or listen to them on the radio, they will routinely portray African Americans as thugs, degenerates, lacking in personal responsibility. You see, when people say that African Americans don't have the same kind of family values, they're just repeating the same lies and techniques used to suppress them that the slave owners did. I then saw how local and federal governments used policies, regulation, and the law to deny access to the basic building blocks of wealth through home ownership. This is not something I understood as being detrimental. That was until the relationship between wealth, poverty, and general criminality was made known to me. No matter what color your skin, wealth is a direct indicator of whether or not you're going to commit a crime. And the greatest increase in wealth over the last 150 years in America today is the increase of home ownership. Home ownership, however, was denied to the African American. They were denied access to banking to underwrite their home purchases. Houses that were built for whites only in the best parts of town with the schools and parks. They were built away from factories and industrial areas that had a detrimental effect on a home value. Houses would be rezoned to force African Americans from being able to rent out extra rooms to help cover the cost of the house. Houses that were sold would have within their contracts language that would say that that house could not be sold to anybody who was not white. Real estate agents were instructed on which houses to show people and which neighborhoods to show them based upon their skin color. And through this exploration of forgotten history, I realized that this nation was set up to benefit people who look like me. There are no stereotypes that paint me as a lazy sexual deviant who is unwilling to raise his children. My ancestors weren't discriminated against to the point in which they were unable to amass wealth and pass that wealth on to the next generation. I have been made, conditioned, and molded to fit into this system. I am a cog in the machine that has been perfectly made to fit. No matter how much I dislike this machine and say that its racism doesn't represent who I am, it was built to benefit people with my skin color. The foundations of its racism were laid down hundreds of years ago and reinforced in subsequent generations. All I had to do was show up and show minimal effort to gain maximum benefit. This system was built for white males like me, and possibly you if you look like me. So, upon reflection, I came back to my initial question. Am I a racist? The answer is unequivocally yes, because I have benefited from a system where others have not. And as a Christian and follower of Jesus Christ, this answer deeply disturbs me, because by no fault of my own, and no action that I have done, I have been placed above members of my own family in Jesus Christ. And honestly, at this point, I'm still struggling with how to help dismantle this system and help my brothers and sisters in Christ. If you have any thoughts on how to accomplish this, leave them below in the comments. I'm going to link the video that started me thinking about these things right about there. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Click right here to subscribe. I publish videos on most Fridays talking about Christianity, faith, and my place within it. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.